Hello, my name is David Webb, and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster, and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game, and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's my opponent to go first. I have a blank, which is great. I also have 5 vowels, which inhibits my bingo prospects. The K is not a bad tile, it's a good tile for score, and it does feature in quite a few bingos. I don't have a 7-letter bingo. It's possible I will have an 8. I'll need to consider these floaters. So, do I have anything through a V? Pretty sure I don't. Then the S is the next possibility. Can't see anything there. T. No. And Y. No. Okay, there are quite a few 5-vowel 8s with this rack. And I do have a method for recalling them, but I'm rusty on it and it takes a while, so I'm not going to go through that. Now, I need to sort this rack out. With a blank, I'm looking to bingo as soon as possible. So, well, what certainly would help is playing Koa down here. Now, the other possibility would be to play Kia, and I think that's better, although there's probably not very much between them. It's 19 points, which isn't a great score, but it certainly sorts the rack out, which is my priority. Great, that's a much more balanced rack, and if I don't have a bingo, I should certainly be able to score well off the X. So, is there a bingo here? I think it's unlikely. Sulfoxide would be a 9-letter bingo. So I have the oxide ending plus F blank. Yeah, I can't see any 7s or 8s with that. Now I can, at the moment, play Fox at F6 down, which is pretty good. I note that Car takes an O in front and an A in front, so I may be able to do better than that if it stays available. I'm wondering if there are any bingos with this rack. I do have the EX prefix, but the problem tile is really the F. It's difficult to think of any prefixes or suffixes. Oh, what about detoxify? That would work with using the IFY suffix. Now, in order to play that, I would need the blank, or I'd need to play through a T or a Y, and Kia has obstructed both. How irksome. So, is there another bingo? Well, the good thing about my opponent's play is that he's left Fox available. Now, I do have the R and the S of theirs. So, is there a bingo? Through either of those? So I have the sex prefix, and that does feature in a number of words. Sex fid is good, but that's only a 6. Sixfold. I'm not seeing anything. So, Fox for 38 points, and the rack leave is pretty good. And I'm sure I have a bingo here. I have Bray Heard in column 11 through the R of Vares. Do I have an alternative? Column 5 looks promising, playing alongside Fox. Perhaps putting the B next to oat to make boat. So a word beginning B-E would do that. Through a W I would have Dweebish, also through an S. Neither is available. So at the moment I've only seen Bray here. I'm sure there are other bingos with this rack. I'm focusing on column 5 rather than column 12 through the S, because if Bray Heard is blocked, it's likely that column 12 will also be blocked. Great, Bray Heard remains available. Now what would be better than that would be a bingo hitting 2 double word squares, either in column 11 or in row K. And row K looks promising because I have an A in between the 2 double word squares. So I need to imagine that I've got the A on my rack, and I'm going to mentally run through the alphabet for the blank. I'm up to F and I haven't seen anything. I'm up to K and I haven't seen anything. Up to O, nothing. Up to R and nothing. Well, there could well be a better bingo than Bray Heard, but I haven't seen it. And I have a very consonant heavy rack, but including 3 T's, but I do have the F and the J for score. Now FITT is good. Unfortunately that doesn't quite play in column 8 at the bottom to reach the triple word square. I've got 5 points for my opponent challenging Bray Heard. I'm looking around the board to see where I can play the J off, but I may need to retain the J because I certainly don't want to carry 3 T's into my next move, and I can't see a way of playing off 2 T's with the J. Now, is there somewhere good to play FITT? Don't think there is. Playing down at K8 would be awful. Stopping 1 short of the triple word square, my opponent could place an E or an S at that spot. I could play FIT at M8 down. 23 points, better than changing, but not great. I'm looking to see if I've got anything to go in front of oats, and I don't, so I can discount that possibility. Okay, well this has some merit. It's taking out a valuable spot for my opponent. Rack leave is pretty grim. Well, what I haven't considered is playing in row M through the E. Do I have anything through that? So I could also play fit at M5 across FITTE. And I could play Fitner in row K. I quite like Fitner because it plays off one more consonant. I feel far happier keeping 3 consonants than keeping 4. Because I'm less likely to have an all-consonant rack next go. And this does obstruct my opponent's use of the triple word square. Oh, I do have 7 consonants. I've taken out the A, which I could have played cat through, but I do have cat at C9 down, which is good, nearly 30 points. I'll be retaining 5 consonants, but certainly getting nearly 30 points justifies postponing changing. And I've also got chin at J6 down. Fitner carried the risk of placing a vowel next to a triple letter square, but if my opponent doesn't take it, I can play chin. So I've got 2 good spots for my cue. I think I prefer cat because it splits up the duplicate T. There are no U's on the board that I can utilise with my cue. So it's certainly a priority ditching the cue. I can't imagine any situation here where holding on to the cue would be better than playing it. Great, my preferred option remains available. My opponent hasn't provided any additional opportunities. And I have a vowel, which is good. And I have 7 distinct tiles, which is also a good thing. So I'm looking to see where I can play my J off and play off a few consonants. The obvious place to consider is row M through the E of serrate, especially if I can reach the double word square at M13. I'm not sure I can do that. Through an O I would have projet or proj. There are very few floating vowels on this board. I'm wondering if I can play through the E of serrate and retain the J. Okay, good play by my opponent, 77 points. I am now 55 points behind. Now row O is available, putting a tile underneath the E of windage. If I don't take that spot, my opponent may well do so. So I could play leapt there. It's not bad. Keeps the board open, which is what I want since I'm behind. JNR is quite a balanced, well, quite a flexible rack leave. 24 points is okay. Duplicate I, duplicate N. This is not great, but JIN and JINN are both good, so maybe they play somewhere. The board is slightly tight. Leapt is good in that, to the extent that it opens up column 15. But I can't see many great spots to play my J, and if my opponent takes out the triple word square at 08, he's unlikely to be opening the board up more. So I'm faced with a difficult rack. I'm a long way from a bingo. I've got duplicate tiles and I have limited options available on the board. I'm scanning the board looking for opportunities, and I'm not seeing much. Now Jin can play in row J from the D of Braehead. 14 points. And that has some merit. Both blanks have gone. 3 S's have gone. There's only one N in the bag. So if I play DJIN, column 15 would be available for me by hooking my second N onto Jin. The only risk to that is if my opponent has the remaining N or the S. Jin would also, in row J, would also have the advantage of obstructing my opponent's ability to pluralise Braehead, which would be a good score for him. And playing Jin would resolve all of the duplicates on my rack and play off the J. The rack leave ILNR would not be particularly good. But with a good pickup, I could have a bingo. The Sea of Cloy is a useful floater. C features in a lot of bingos. And I would be retaining an I for an icy ending word. Now I'm 41 points behind. Make that 74 points behind. Gaze takes an A in front. I need to remember that. So, do I play Jin off the D of Braehead, or do I play it at M1? 27 points versus 14. I think I'm going to take the point sacrifice, 13 point sacrifice, which is huge, because I am a long way behind and I need this board to stay open, and the N hook for Jin is particularly useful given that I have an N. Let's see what happens. Well, that's pretty poor. I draw the remaining N, so my opponent can only place an S on the end of Jin. I have got only 1 point tiles. I have got duplicate L and N, so this is pretty grim. So what do I have in column 15? I'd like to play in column 15, resolve my duplicates, as in get rid of them, and keep column 14 open. Well, it would also be nice to play off the U. That's not a particularly great letter, and there are still 2 U's unseen. Well, that's a good move by my opponent. He's taken out column 1 because V doesn't take anything in front of it. So, what's best to do here? I don't have to put the N on the end of Jin. Vogue takes an R at the end. Run-in is good. And in earn. Well, both of those play in column 15, but they do keep duplicate L. There are no L's left, and there are a lot of vowels. So this is what I'm thinking about. $28 points. I think run-in may also be good, and that would avoid putting a vowel next to a triple letter square. But it could be in run, that's good. In earn, I'm sure of. I'm wondering if there's a way of playing off one of my L's. So I'd like to play off L, U, and N. And possibly both L's, but there's nowhere great to play null. Okay, well actually 28 points with this rack is pretty good. And I draw the S. I'm 66 points behind and my opponent is on turn, and I don't have a bingo. There are very few bingo lanes on this board. There's columns 3 and 4 onto the C and L of Cloy. My opponent has taken the spot. I was just eyeing up for idle. And scored 31 points into the bargain, so he is nearly 100 points ahead. I'm in a pretty grim position and there are no blanks to rescue me. Now, column of row L is available for a bingo through the T of serrated. In particular, it's available for words beginning out, and I've got the O and the U, but out dills is not good. There are 12 tiles in the bag. So what can I do to improve my prospects, my limited prospects? Well, I do have the S for putting on the end of Braehead, and the S is not particularly useful on this board because there are no bingo lanes for words ending in S. So S, O, D, 48 points, that's pretty good. Rack leaves atrocious. I don't think I can turn away from 48 points. I am providing a very easy opportunity for my opponent to score in row L. He could have a play beginning at L12, beginning WE for a massive comeback. But I'm wondering what else I can do. Maybe row M through the U of Vogue. Got the O to go after the Z. Well, let me just think about that. Actually, I think Ludo is going to be a better play. The rack leave from Sod was atrocious. I was providing an easy opportunity for my opponent. 27 points. I'm retaining the S for pluralizing Braehead, and ILUS is a far more bingo-y rack leave than what I was looking at after Sod. Okay, I've still got the out prefix for row L. There goes one of my bingo lanes. 6 tiles left. I've got 6 minutes on the clock. My rack's not that far from being a bingo, but a bingo may not be enough even if it's playable because I am 100 points behind. But how can I maximize my chances of playing a bingo? Well, how could I maximize my chances of winning this game? I'm looking again at putting the S on the end of Braehead. I've still got the O for going after Joe, but I don't have anything for going after the I, so I'd be restricted to playing SO. Then the rack leave of EEILU is dismal. Now with 5 vowels, to improve my bingo prospects, I'd be looking at playing off a couple of them. Now, is there anywhere where my vowels can play that gets a half-decent score? Well, let's see what OU scores down here. I am foregoing the out prefix, but that's not Totally fabulous. 14 points. I'm retaining EEILS. There are still bingo lanes in columns 3 and 4 and row L. Almost certainly not enough. But is there anywhere on this board that I can score more? I'm not sure that there is. Yup, I'm going to go with this. And I draw a W and a U. This is not my night. There are 4 tiles left. I accept defeat. But in defeat, one should look to minimize one's losing spread. So where can I play my W for score, and is there anywhere where I can play my W and the U? Well, I could play Jew at J12 down, 26 points, leaving Ilias. That's not bad. And I could still then play the S on the end of Brahid, going through the E of Jew. I'm looking around to see what else is available. The remaining tiles are quite bingo-y. My opponent may rub salt into my wounds. Okay, looks like my opponent left us and immediately returned, so that's good. Gosh, if my opponent had not returned, the game would have been adjudicated in my favour, even though I'm massively behind. Not the way I like to win a game. Which I'm not sure what the etiquette is when that happens, whether one should adjourn. Maybe one should. I don't know. So my opponent may have a bingo in column 3 or column 4. Well, not sure quite what's happening with my opponent's internet connection. He has taken out the Jew spot. There is 1 tile left. So when there's 1 tile left and you're looking to minimize your losing score, you're looking to see if there is a bingo possible with any of the remaining tiles. So for example, I can imagine playing off the W here, and it's a case of, do any of the remaining tiles make a playable bingo in columns 3 or 4? Well, not that I can see. But I think I'm going to play when and use the remaining time to see if I have anything. Okay. Possibly the worst pickup. A 3rd E and all 1-point tiles. $21 points for my opponent. He extends his lead. I can see the tiles that he's got left. A, C, D, D, I. What can I do with this rack? Well, I could play eel in row M at M12, making peel. 12 points. Trip takes an E at the end, and windage takes an S. So I could play else down here. This is going to be a little bit more respectable. 26 points. I don't think I'm going to score more than that on this board. Now, I think I will have another go. My opponent's rack isn't great. Yeah, 24 points for him. I can't go out. Now, Cloy does take an E at the end, but I don't have a play which comes down onto the T of Fitna. I could play B at C11 across. 12 points. I think that's the best I can see. Yep. I think my opponent will be going out. Maybe not, in which case I have an I and a U. I can't see anywhere to play off the I and the U. I've got 1 minute left. I could play new at J14 down for 2 points. Can I beat that? Two points for new. Surely I can do better than that. Un and 4 points, yes. Oh well, we'll find out later or shortly if there's a better spot. Now if my opponent doesn't play out, and I think he will, he's got DI at B13 across, I can play it at N15 and TI at K7, so I will be going out if my opponent doesn't. My opponent could also play DIT at M15 down. Yeah, that's fine. So pass to end the game. And the final score is 341 to me, 450 to my opponent. A winning margin for him of 109 points. So a big loss. Let's see what I missed. It was my opponent to go first. And I didn't miss a bingo. And I could have played a key at G7 for 22 points. Instead I played Kia for 19 and retained one more vowel, so a key was better. Great, no missed bingo here. The suggestion is foxed at F6, where I played fox. But looking at my rack, I think retaining the D and the E is worth foregoing 7 points, because with a blank it certainly increases my bingo prospects. Now here, Brayhead was my move. Yeah, and the spot where I played it was the highest scoring spot. I'm surprised. I thought there would have been more bingos. The only alternative bingo was beside at B12 through the S of Vares, and various other spots for Brayhead which didn't score more than the spot where I played it. I'm slightly surprised by that, but that's the way it is. Now this, well, the highest scoring move was Gin, retaining 3 T's. That's definitely not best. I played Fitna for 16, and the combination of score and rack leave for Fitna I think is superior to the options being shown. This was a terrible rack. Cat for 29 I think is still better than changing. This was where my opponent bingoed and started to take a significant lead, and I just did not have the rack to respond. Jeanette at F10. That would have opened up column 15, but it would also have scored 31 points. And Jeep was available at L12, down through the E of windage. Okay, well I played leapt for 24. I suspect Jeep is better because it's getting rid of a non-bingo-y tile and it's scoring more. Now here is where I was considering Gin at M1 for 27, but instead played Gin at J11 because I wanted to open the board and I had the N hook for Gin. That was a good move by my opponent, really closed the board down or restricted the opportunities available at the bottom left hand side. And my rack was terrible. I played in earn, and the bingo for that, the anagram for that was in run and not run in, so I couldn't avoid placing a vowel next to a triple letter square by choosing between those two. And well, Lin at H15, L-I-double-N is interesting because it doesn't have a duplicate L in the rack leave, it doesn't place a vowel next to triple letter square, and it also enables bingos to be played in column 14. On the downside it retains a U, so maybe a close choice there. Now Sod was the move I considered for 48 points, and instead I played Ludo for 27, 21 points fewer. Very difficult to say there which is the best. Rack leaves and board positions can swallow up 20 odd point score differences, but analysis would really be needed to determine which of these moves was better. Now, what did I do here? I played OU for 14. Yeah, I think playing SO probably would have been better. 41 points is a lot. Yeah, I don't think OU is best at all. Whoops. So, this was right at the end of the game, and I had Wiles at I13. I see playing through the I of Gin and putting an E on the end of Trip. And I played Else for 26, retaining the W for score. No, I didn't. I played When because I still thought there may be the possibility of a bingo. I think probably a forlorn hope. Now, here is where I played Else, and that looks best. And now, well, yeah, I played B. And then I played for 4, which was the best possible move on this board. Great. Nailed it. Okay. Well, that was a heavy defeat, and well done to my opponent. Heavy defeats happen. It's still, even when you've lost a game and lost a game heavily, you've still had the pleasure of having 12 or 13 racks to consider and a board on which to try and find the best possible move. So to the extent that Scrabble is enjoyable as a series of puzzles, every game is enjoyable, and this falls into that category. It was good fun spotting Brayhead, and I think a lot of the racks were challenging, particularly with the limited opportunities available on this board. So I hope that was an enjoyable learning video for you. My name is David Webb, and this has been a video for Dweebovision.